This is Legends of the Game, where the legends of yesterday inspired the heroes of tomorrow.
I'm Mike Violet, and this is Maine Legends of the Game. Today we are here at Skowhegan Area Memorial High School. As you can see, the athletic fields behind me, specifically the first one in the foreground, are all very well manicured. The field hockey program for 50 years here in Skowhegan has been in perfect shape, and it's been in perfect shape because of the leadership of today's Maine Legend of the Game, Paula Doughty. When you come on this field, what's the first thing you think of? You've been on it how many times? 5 million?
Well, 48 years worth.
48.
I don't know, this feels home to me. You know, we all want a new turf field because that's how the game's played today. But this field will always be home to me. You know, there are some days as the season goes on and everything is just mowed beautifully. Randy and I will sit down here and we'll just look at it, and it just looks like heaven. First game I coached was on the back of Memorial Field.
Oh, okay.
The baseball field.
Right.
Because when I came here in '74 to teach, that's when Title IX just passed. And they'd had, from my understanding, like a club team for a year or two after Title IX, because they didn't have field hockey here. So after they hired me, or were hiring me, they said, would you, they saw field hockey on my, and back then field hockey was just high school field hockey.
Yeah.
On my papers. And I said, yeah, I'd officiated for 3 years. And I coached skiing that year as well, but we didn't have a field.
So did you literally start the program here at Skowhegan?
I was the first varsity coach.
First varsity coach.
There was really two before me, Betty Pratt and Barbara Wright. And I'm not really sure if they were a club team then. It was so long ago, it was 50 years ago. Or they just played scrimmages. But we were like the first one that really got it together and played other teams.
Was it a daunting task now that you look back, or was it?
I was about the same age as the kids. I was 20 and they were like 18.
You loved it?
I can remember thinking, all I want to do is build tradition in this town for the girls. Because, the girls, they could cheer or do the flags and stuff. I think they did have basketball though. But they didn't have all the things the boys had, And I remember thinking, I want to build tradition. And we have. When I was a little girl in Wilton, my grandfather lived next to the field hockey field. And from the time I was very small, I would go up there in the fall and watch him play field hockey. As a really little girl, my mother played field hockey at Wilton Academy.
No kidding.
Yeah. And
so it's in your blood.
Well, I just loved it. Something about the game, I loved it. And I was not an outstanding player. I was good, but I wasn't outstanding. And I played at Wilton Academy. And, back then, you walked in the first day, you took a stick out of the box, you played your season, you threw it back in, and then I went to ski practice.
Right. Yeah, the sports were compartmentalized.
Yeah, I mean, they had a little bit of college. I think UMPI had a team and UMF and whatever, but they weren't like today. There was no Division I, Division II, and all that. For a long time, we were the premier program in the state of Maine. And one of the things that's made me super happy is to watch all the other programs grow. Okay, it was fairly easy for quite a while to win the state championship. It's not easy now. There are so many young women that are now coaching that played against me, and they're just building these beautiful programs.
So on this field, you've won so many big games. Is 600 plus wins, is there one that stands out?
Yeah, I think it was the game that it was like my 6th or 7th or 8th year coaching, maybe 10th year coaching, that we outshot Lawrence 32-1 and they won.
Oof, that'll stick with you.
That game I will never forget.
32-1 and they won.
Yes. That's why.
Is that just one of those things where you tell the kids, Mama said there's going to be days like this?
Well, I think one of the strengths of being a more seasoned coach, to speak of, is that I have a lot of experiences. And I can often tell what's going to happen before it even happens. And, I'll say to the kids sometimes, we've shot at the cage 11, 15 times, and, I'm like, we got a skilled play defense here. One fast break and it could be trouble. So, you know, those experiences stay with you, that's for sure.
At Toro, we know shortcuts don't cut it. Our iron-forged cutting system is the bedrock of machines that get the job done right, season after season. We use thick, heavy steel. More rigid means less flex, so the deck stays precisely on its mark, producing an unmatched, even and clean cut that only comes from a Toro.
Get your Toro Zero Turn at Chase Toys, 417 Thorndike Road in Unity.
Would Paula Doughty, the player, the field hockey player, like to play for Paula Doughty, the field hockey coach?
Yes.
Why?
Because Paula Doughty, the field hockey coach, is organized. She has structure. She has rules. I love that stuff. I don't like loosey-goosey.
You don't do what you do still and what you've done in the last 50 years without a lot of help. And I know your assistant coaches are a vital part of the whole process here.
I'm a firm believer that you surround yourself with people better than you.
You're an offensive coach, right?
You
like to score.
My head just goes offense. And I never really played defense. I mean, back in the olden days, I mean, the fullbacks played the defense or whatever. So truthfully, I didn't know that much about defense. So when I first started coaching, that was my mission. I mean, to be a great coach, you don't have to be a great player. I know a ton of great players who can't coach their way out of a paper bag. You have to be a great teacher, and you have to be able to be a great psychologist. You have to read body language. You have to be understanding of kids and how they're feeling and thinking. And Tammy V knows the whole package. You know, another one is Brandy Mary. Brandy's been with me. She was on the 91 team, and she's had the middle school forever. I think the experience that the girls get with 6 women coaches, all born in a different decade. I was the 50s, Tammy was the 60s, Brandy was the 70s, all the way up through. They really get a great perspective about women. And I really believe that women still struggle with, you know, feeling good about themselves and, you know, being willing to put themselves out there. In Ted Lasso, at the end he goes,
be a goldfish?
Well, he says be a goldfish, but in the end he says, this isn't about me, it never was. And that's how I feel about this team and this program. This isn't just about me, and it never was. It's about all of us. This community, the coaching staff, the thousands of kids that have played for me. The goldfish, I'll tell you about the goldfish. I love Ted Lasso. Every coach in the world should see it.
It's changed you.
It has changed me. After Ted Lasso, I sat back and I said, Paula, be a goldfish. What be a goldfish is Ted says, if you're a goldfish, they have the shortest memory in the world. After 10 minutes, you just let it go. So all my coaches this year, I bought them goldfish teachers because I have young kids. And the first week, everybody cried. And I'm like, be a goldfish. Listen to what we have to say, internalize it, move on. 20
state championships, 27 regionals championships, as much success as a program could possibly have. When you're not coaching anymore, what do you want, and what do you think your legacy will be here?
Well, first of all, I don't want a legacy, and I don't think anybody's going to even think about it. I don't think about those things.
No, you don't?
I don't think about those things. I think about what I'm doing right now and the kids I'm working with right now. If you went out there and asked my kids, when was the last time you talked about state championships, they'd all look at each other and say, just like scoring. I've had reporters walk over and say, Jenny, how many goals have you scored this year? And she'll say, well, I don't know. I mean, we don't talk about those things.
So it's
we
not
talk about
important.
roles. Well, it's important. You know, we play to win. We try to win every year. We want to be in a state championship every year. But to me, it's the process. You know, it's that whole idea of building a foundation, building on that foundation. Everybody has a role. Everybody does their role. You know, I just think that's super important for these girls to learn.
Get there together, go Skowhegan! Believe it, achieve it!
That sign needs to be updated. Of course, they've won many other state championships since then. You see the numbers going all the way back to 91, whatever. Are you amazed at that, or?
I don't think about it much, if you want.
No? Come on.
I don't think that much about the championships. You know, I think about this team that I have right now and how to build them and how to teach them. The greatest joy I have got out of coaching is watching girls become very strong, educated young women.
Well, the process here at Skowhegan with their field hockey program has made you a Maine legend of the game. And so we're pleased to have had you on our first show.
Thank you very much.
Paula.
Thank you very much.
Paula Doughty.